What's going on, everybody? I'm Cade Morehouse of Cage Side Press, and today I'm joined by the one and only Kaytlin Neal. Kaytlin, how's it going?
Good. Can't complain. Happy to be here.
Let's get started. You had a fight not too long ago with Mazar, I believe her name is. That quite a bit of people thought that you won. Close split decision. What is your mindset after hearing her name after all the preparation that you and hard work that you put into camp?
I mean, it's always a bummer to lose, especially by a split decision. That means like one judge saw it my way, two judges saw it her way, and I thought I won. Like I thought did enough to get it done. So that's kind of just like heartbreaking. A lot goes into camps, into training, and to all of that. And then on top of it, like you lose half of your paycheck. So it's not only that like you lose a fight, you get a loss on your record that you feel like you should have as a win, but you also like lose half of your paycheck. And that's always something that like is such like salt in the wound.
Yeah, I was gonna say it must really be a bummer, especially because it really did feel like, especially in the last round, is when it really kind of separated. Like I felt like, at least me personally, watching the fight, I felt like you had won the third round. It might have been tied going 1-1 maybe into the third, but I thought you won the third. So I don't know. A lot of people I know after that fight, a lot of people thought you won. So I know that's always tough as a fighter. But I want to say, obviously you're on the Ultimate Fighter. I want to ask, what did you take from that experience that you can apply every day to your career or to training or just to any aspect of your career?
Yeah, so I think the Ultimate Fighter was one of the hardest things mentally I've ever been through because you're cut off from all of your normal friends, families, training partners, coaches. You're completely out of your comfort zone. You're on camera 24/7. You're in a house full of strangers. And that was just such an uncomfortable situation that fight camps moving forward have been kind of like almost easy because you're not living with people that you're going to fight. You have your coaches, you have your training partners. And so I kind of remind myself how like what I did go through on the Ultimate Fighter and how uncomfortable I was there. And it makes training camps and putting myself in uncomfortable situations that much easier.
Did being around people like Chandler Cole help the situation?
Yeah. I mean, towards the end, he was starting to get on my nerves a little bit, but no, we're still really good friends. But no, Chandler was like our entertainment because we didn't have access to TV and Chandler just doesn't stop talking. So we could just like sit there and like listen to all of his stories and it'd be entertainment for hours.
Oh man. How did being around Amanda Nunes like what did you gain from that? Just being around somebody that great.
So with Amanda Nunes, like I didn't really like connect to her before the Ultimate Fighter because what they portray her as in the UFC is like this like tough, like kind of like untouchable girl, but like she as a coach was so funny, she was so personable, she was so kind, she was very giving, and like you just don't see that through anything that she does, really, except for a little bit on her social media. You'll see glimpses of her sense of humor here and there, but she honestly was like so funny and it was just fun to be around. So it was nice to see more of like the human side towards her because when you see her in the cage, it almost like dehumanizes her a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's what it kind of seemed like on the show is like Amanda just what they like you're right, what they portray her at in the UFC, but then if you ever like meet her or see her do an interview or something, she's very nice or she's got like this family side to her, like it's like completely different. So I agree with you on that one. I wanted to ask you too, like I feel like nobody's asked you this, but I'm not really sure.
We'll
Juliana
see.
Miller, when you fought in Tough, looking at let's just start with this. Looking at how everyone's doing from that show right now, does it kind of eat at you a little bit that you lost that fight? Because Juliana, not taken away from her skill set, but it's been rough for her in the UFC thus far. Do you think that looking back on that fight, it just eats at you, or do you not really think that way?
It 100% eats at me. And so when we had to go we had to go back and talk to Dana White and say who we wanted to fight in the semifinals. And when I went into the back room, I told Dana that I wanted to fight Brogan, which is my teammate on the Ultimate Fighter. And Amanda was back there and she was so mad that I like picked to fight Brogan, even though she was because she was my teammate. But I'm like, I'm not really her teammate. Like we've known each other for like 3 weeks at this point. Like I want to fight Brogan. So I think I would love to have fought Brogan and then fought Juju in the finale. And I think that would have gone out a little bit better for me. Like, I think it would have played out much better because I would have had like my own training partners. I would have been more comfortable. And then I was going through a lot in the Ultimate Fighter house. My dad had passed away while I was there. So just like emotionally, I was getting like taxed and drained. And then I also sprained my hamstring when I was on like right after my second fight or right after my fight with Helen. And so I was going through a lot. Like I was injured. I was going through a loss of my dad. And so like emotionally, I just was like so drained at that point when I fought Juju. But I think if I fought her today, I would win. But that's not taking anything away from her and what she accomplished. But that's kind of just like my feelings. And me and her have actually like trained together a couple times, and we're actually like pretty good friends now. So it would be hard to fight her now that I like actually like her. But I think, yeah, I think I would win in a different mindset, if that makes sense.
Wow, I didn't even know that. I didn't even hear about that. I didn't know you're going through so much during the tough house. So like not only being away from your family, but then it's like I can't really leave because I'm trying to get my career going in the UFC, and then you're having to deal with all this mentally and
Yeah.
just emotionally. So wow, that's crazy.
And I didn't tell anybody in the house about my dad passing away because I didn't want people checking in on me constantly and like seeing how I was and being reminded of that. So I didn't tell any of my teammates. I didn't tell any of my friends. The only people I did end up telling was the coaches, Amanda and Nina. So I also like tried to like bottle and like compartmentalize that the whole time. I don't know if that was the right thing to do. I don't know if it was the wrong thing to do, but that's kind of my game plan going into that. So I didn't have to like really think about that the whole time, but it was definitely like mentally draining by the end of the 5 weeks.
Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that. That's a bummer. That I want to ask you though, I know you're with the PFL, but is it, and it might be hard to say on camera, but is that still your end goal, is to get there, or are you complacent where you're at with the PFL?
Do you know what? So I love the PFL. I really, really do. Like I love how they treat me. They're super nice. They pay me well. They pay me better than the contract that I would have gotten with the Ultimate Fighter if I won the show. So it's like that is such like an awesome experience, and I love being with the PFL. But my main goal is to have like at least like a 3-fight contract in the UFC. Like I want to be able to say like I'm a UFC fighter. I fought in the UFC and leave my legacy in that way. But I don't know. So that is kind of like my goal. But if I do end up just becoming like the PFL flyweight champion and sticking with that and earning $1 million every year, I mean, I'm not going to complain that in that at all either.
Yeah, no. A lot of fighters say the same thing, like from the PFL. Like by the end of it, I at least want to do a couple fights just to see what it's like over there and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But I like it with the PFL. I want to ask you, you do a lot of training on the side, like side training.
Mhm.
How many people do you train at a time? And then also like what motivates you to do that?
Yeah, so I am an online fitness coach. So I around like 40 to 50 clients at any given time. But so fitness and being a personal trainer was like my main passion. Like ever since I was a tiny little girl, I'm like, I want to be in 80s aerobic dance, like fitness videos, and I want to be a personal trainer. I thought personal trainers were like the coolest people ever. And so now that I am like fighting and I still wanted to be a personal trainer, so I was trying to find a way to balance that, but I couldn't do it in a gym because that just takes so much time, like being able to be one-on-one with one client, and that really limits you. So now that technology has improved ever since, I wanted to become a personal trainer. I started taking online clients, and it's been so much fun. I get to meet people like all around the world. I've actually coached quite a few people who watched me on The Ultimate Fighter, and it's fun to be able to connect with fans, and like I know they're rooting me on for my goals, but now I can actually help like root for them and support them with their goals too. So it's been really awesome in that way. And I think it just complements fighting so well because it's my way to like give back to the people who support me. And so, yeah, I love being an online fitness coach. I think it's so fun.
Nice. Is it expensive, or does it depend on what the person wants to get out of it?
So it depends on your definition of expensive. So it
I
honestly,
honestly don't even know how much the classes or people even charge for that kind of stuff. So I honestly wouldn't even know what expensive is in that field, but I I don't know, honestly.
yeah. So I would say it kind of just depends on the client, where they're wanting to go, what their goals are, how long they would need a coach for, and their experience level. So it's all very like custom to them and what they need.
Nice. I want to get into this. You make a lot of TikToks, and you've honestly built quite the brand off of it. It's something that you enjoy doing. I won't lie, because of your personality, I honestly find myself just sitting there laughing at them a lot of times. But I wanted to ask you, what made you start having so much fun doing that? And then also, I guess the second part to the question is, do you get a kick out of people's comments? Because I know I do, because people are just weird.
So, this is really embarrassing, but when I was a little girl, like me and my best friend had this like tiny little camera that we would make just dumb videos on. This is way before social media. This is way before even like MSN Messenger or MySpace or anything. Like, so we would make videos and just kind of like, we were kind of like quirky, funny little girls. And then once TikTok started rolling out, I realized like, oh, I can kind of like make those videos again. And so then I kind of like tested the water here and there. And then now I've kind of gone like full force into like making funny videos. Like I used to try to be like professional and serious and stuff. And I'm like, that's just not me. Like, not me at all. I'd rather make people laugh. If they take me serious, I don't care. I am like very much like professional in my like, day-to-day life and how I handle my clients and that kind of thing. But I do love entertaining people, making people laugh. And then as far as the comments go, it's always like hit and miss for me. And this took me a really long time to get used to, or to like develop this skill, I would say, is like to turn people's rude comments into a joke, and like, or just like feed into them or like play into them to make them realize like, oh, that was kind of like a mean comment. So like I guess there was like an example. This girl commented on my post and she said, wearing fake eyelashes in a cage fight is so stupid. And so I commented back, I'm like, we don't cage fight because we're smart. And so it just kind of like turning people's like mean negative energy into more of like a neutral or funny one. And that's kind of like how I cope with those comments. But then also I'll get comments that are like completely off the wall. And I'm like, how do you feel comfortable like commenting this in a public space? Like your parents could see this, your family could see this. Like that's making me uncomfortable, but I don't know. It's just funny.
That
People
was that
make
was
social media
commented
fun.
that was commented on the Tracy Cortez TikTok, or not TikTok, that you made. Was it a TikTok? Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. That's
Yeah.
what she commented.
Yeah. It was about Tracy Cortez's eyelashes getting
Yeah.
ripped out. And she just said that it was dumb. Like, I know. When I was making that video, I was like, this is one of the dumbest video topics I've ever like made a video on, but that's okay. We're here. We're
I
doing it
mean,
anyways.
you got engagement on it. I mean, Rose commented on
Yeah,
it.
that
I mean,
was
you got
awesome.
engagement. But no, I was gonna ask you, when you first started doing this, did it used to hurt your feelings what people would say, or did you just like always not care?
No, it definitely hurt my feelings because when I got on TikTok, I think it was in the middle of like 2020. My record was 4-4. I just had gone through a knee surgery, so I was out and down. And I was like, people were ruthless to me. Like they were so mean. They're like, you should quit fighting, you suck. And like they would pull up my record and like do all this stuff. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I promise I'm like a way better fighter than what my record says. I'm like, just wait, give me a couple years, let me rehab this injury and let me do a couple fights. Like I promise you'll like me and respect me. So that was like really hard for me. But I think once I started like realizing the people who are commenting those things, it's more of a projection of them and how they feel about themselves rather than how they feel about me, or with their opinion of what I should do with my own life. So I think I just like really, really had to work on that. And of course, like some people like will dig really deep and will find some like truth and that will like really hurt me, but I just try to like not let it get to me too much, and I've been much better at that for like the past like probably 2 or 3 years. I've gotten really good at just kind of like laughing it off or playing it off. And when I do comment back to people, and kind of like turn their comments into like a joke or agree with them or like stuff like that, then it like I think if you get like defensive over your comments, it's just like weird negative energy. And I think people respect more that I can like laugh at myself and agree with what they're saying. And I think I've turned a few like negative people into fans just by the way I handle their comments.
Yeah, I wanted to say too, I really feel that fans or just people in general, they look at you guys like, oh, they're fighters, they're famous, so I can say whatever I want to them. But you never really know how you make somebody feel with what you say to them in the internet, or they would probably never say it to you in person. But just what you say to people, just I mean, at the end of the day, you guys are humans too, and people just feel like they could just say whatever they want, and it's like act like there's just nothing comes with it. So I've always thought that's like crazy to just talk to somebody however you feel like just because you're behind a screen or even in person, really. Like, just
Yeah.
what was the need to say what you just said right now? I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
I totally agree. And then a lot of times when I do comment back to people, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't think you were actually going to read it. I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "What did you think?" I'm like, "What? You're commenting on my post. Why wouldn't I read that?" I don't know.
A couple more questions. You injured your knee. You had to get surgery. I'm pretty sure this is what, the second time?
So I tore my meniscus in one knee, had to do a full repair. So that was a 9 month recovery. Went back to training for a month, tore my ACL in the opposite knee. Then I went through and fought, I think it was like 5 or 6 fights. And then I tore my ACL in the opposite knee. So they've all been different knee surgeries, but opposite knees. And so I'm just saying, like, my ACLs are strong now. They're reconstructed, and then I'm done. I'm done. I don't have any more knee surgeries to have.
Well, what is your expected what is your recovery looking like? And then also like what is your expected, when can we expect to see you back? Because I know that those injuries are not something that most people come back from quickly, but
So I can get back to training in another 3 months. And with the PFL, since their fighting schedule is so weird, I don't know if I'll be able to fight at my like 9 or 12 month recovery mark. But my goal is to at least try to hop into the 2025 PFL $1 million tournament. So if everything goes well, at least that tournament, if not like have like 1 or 2 fights before that, but we'll see how that goes.
all right, I got a couple fun questions and I'll get you out of here.
Okay.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie. So this is hard because I don't watch movies more than once, but I really like I would have to say Hot Rod because that's one movie that I will actually rewatch.
It's a classic. Favorite hobby outside of fighting?
Online shopping.
Oh, I should have known that one.
Avid
Favorite
online
submission.
shopper. Sorry, say that again.
Favorite submission.
Favorite submission, rear naked choke or standing guillotine. Those two are my favorite.
What's your favorite strike, I guess? I mean, there's so many, but I see you make a bunch of TikToks doing different stuff. So what's your favorite strike?
Head kick. Left head kick. That is my favorite one. And I throw it a lot. So
Like
why
like
my
the
knees are
one
like the way they are.
well, I was gonna ask you are you talking about like the same exact setup as Leon landed on Kamaru?
I can't put a finger on that. What did it look like? Was
The
it?
left head
Mine
kick
was a
that
question mark kick.
okay, question mark. Okay.
Yeah.
If there's anything you would want Kaytlin Neal to be remembered for when your career is all said and done, what would that be?
Mm. I think I just want to be a fighter that people can admire for their career. So what I mean by that is like my career hasn't been perfect by any means. It's been like I was undefeated for like 5 fights and then I lost a couple, won a couple, lost a bunch, and then came back and then went 6-2 in my last 8, 7-1 if you don't count the last one. But I think it's more of just like that resiliency. And so when people handle or how they see me handle a setback in their life, hopefully they can see me overcome setbacks in my career and be like, okay, well, if she can come back time after time, knee surgery after knee surgery, and loss after loss and still show up and be an awesome fighter, then I can totally handle what I'm going through in my life. So I just want to be able to like inspire people and like help them push through those low times in their lives and those like hiccups in their career, because it definitely isn't an easy thing to overcome. But once you build up that resiliency and keep showing up, keep believing in yourself, it all kind of just like works out in your favor.
Nice. If last one, if you could take 3 fighters to build the best fighter, what would those 3 fighters be?
Oh, okay. Okay. So Khabib's wrestling. We're gonna go. Oh, Alex Perez striking. And then let's see. I'm gonna have to follow with Amanda Nunes.
Amanda Nunes, Pereira, and Habib. That's interesting. That's a good answer because a lot of people would usually say John Jones, Anderson Silva, GSP. Like they wouldn't really think outside the box of it. They would just go with the 3 guys that everybody would think of. So that's a good one. I like that one.
So here's the thing with that is those were before my time. So I didn't really watch a lot of their fights. So I I don't think I ever really watched like GSP. I watched a couple of John Jones's, but ever since like I've been into fighting, he's kind of been like in a weird like
Situation.
criminal, yeah, criminal situation. I don't know. So I'm just going off of fighters that are like fresh in my mind and I have actually watched and like supported.
Kaytlin, I want to thank you for your time today. It's been an honor to talk to you. Hopefully we could do it again one day. I'm looking forward to seeing you back. Do you have any shout outs or you would like to anybody you would like to shout out really before we end this?
Yeah, totally. Go follow me on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, YouTube. If you just type in Katniss, normally I'm the first person that pops up, like Katniss from the Hunger Games. It's my fight name. And then I'd like to thank Century Martial Arts for being a sponsor. They've been a sponsor for me for like probably like 8 years now. They're awesome. They have the little Bob guy, and if you'll see Bob in a lot of my TikTok videos. And of course, Kudo Protein Popcorn. They sponsor me, and it's a really good like snack that you can have while you're weight cutting too. Really awesome. And then of course, like Wella Supplements. It's my supplement brand that I own. I started. And we have awesome performance supplements. So those are all my shout outs.
Kaytlin Neal, everyone.